They're out on the field. The pride of the Southland band crisply marches into the Giant T. The rear, the roar of 97,000 fans rises with each rhythmic step. In the background, George Beatsis is singing "Fight, Balls, Fight." The orange and white Shakers flood the air. The Volunteers are ready at the north end of the football field to burst through the gate. They're coming now, racing onto the field through the Giant T. In that magic moment that says, wherever you are, it's football time in Tennessee.
Welcome to the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Week 1 is in the books. It's time for my favorite part of the year, overreactions. Being an emotional fan, psychotic fans like us, we like to look at one game in week 1 and we like to get excited and we like to over-exaggerate things, but that's what we do around here. That's what college football diehards like to do. A lot of people right now talking about LSU and their loss to Florida State just absolutely got their doors blown off in that second half. 45-24 the final. Clemson, how about Clemson getting embarrassed by Duke 28-7? And look, a lot of times in week 1 we're talking about games against teams like Western Carolina, Mercer, MTSU. I get it, but then there's some games out there that I really want to focus on and talk about this week, and that is Florida's loss to Utah and also South Carolina's loss to UNC. The reason for that is, how do these games impact the Vols? How do we change our narrative, form our opinions going into those games as we look at the schedule in 2023? I've talked a lot about this year and also kind of talked about it last year. I think it's important for Tennessee to get out of September undefeated. You've got 5 games this year in the month of September. I think going on the road to play Florida is crucial. If this football team is going to have an opportunity to get to 10 wins, if they're going to have an opportunity to compete for an SEC championship, a national championship, a shot at the college football playoff, it all starts week 3 on the road in the swamp. That's a big one. We're going to take a look at their game against Utah, form some opinions. Does it change how you feel about that game after Utah beat Florida 24-11? Also, South Carolina, that's one that we've all had circled on the calendar for September the 30th because that's a big one. We all know. All we got to do is look back a year ago. We've had a sour taste in our mouth ever since that loss to South Carolina last year. How does that match up? Look, a lot of people talking about UTSA and how Tennessee should be scared. Boogie, don't overlook UTSA. Well, they came out of the gates, first game of the season with a loss, 17-14 against Houston. So take it for what it's worth. But we're going to get into it. We're going to take a look at scores around the SEC and how that impacts our thoughts going into week 2, week 3 as this season starts to get underway. But as always, you guys know what to do. Smash the thumbs up just below the video. It's quick, free, and easy. It does help this channel. I would greatly appreciate it. Also, if you're new to the Talkin VAWLS Network, welcome. We're not experts. We're not insiders. We're not media. We don't pretend to be media. This channel is for the fans, by the fans. If you like the content, make sure you subscribe. Click that bell for notifications. You won't miss out when we go live or when we drop a video. Going to be live tonight, 6:30 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to play some NCAA football, but we're also going to hang out and talk Tennessee football all night long. So make sure you come hang out and join us for that. But let's take a look at scores around the SEC. Again, you got a lot of games that really just don't matter. Vanderbilt, who cares what happens with Vanderbilt? Missouri with a win over South Dakota. We're going to come back to that Florida game. Kentucky 44-14 over Ball State. What do you guys think about the Wildcats? Do you think they are for real? Of course, Tennessee with a big win over Virginia 49-13. Arkansas over Western Carolina. Ole Miss blows out Mercer. And when you go through these scores, and I look at Georgia beating UT Martin 48-7, you're not going to take a whole lot away from that. But Carson Beck threw for almost 300 yards. The same can be said for Alabama beating MTSU 56-7. Milroe, I thought, looked pretty good. I think he had 3 touchdowns through the air, a couple on the ground. He's an athlete. He's dangerous with the ball in his hands. So I think Georgia and Alabama are going to be Georgia and Alabama. Look, they're loaded with talent. And again, we will monitor, we will watch, we will break down Alabama and Georgia as the season goes on and start to form some opinions there. But I'm focused more on the here and now. I'm focused on September, what this Tennessee team has to do to get out of September undefeated. And again, we take a look at Florida versus Utah, 24-11. The Gators fall, their fan base up in arms. Billy Napier, is he going to get the job done? Let's look at Tennessee. Let's look at their strength coming out of that Virginia game. We're all talking about the defensive line and how dominant they were, holding Virginia to 200 yards of offense, but 96 yards on the ground. Virginia averaged 2.4 yards per carry in week 1. Also had 10 tackles for loss, just living in the backfield. Tennessee got penetration all night long. The big thing that I like, the takeaway that I like from Tennessee is their ability to get home with 4. We've kind of talked about that since Josh Heupel arrived. It seemed like Tim Banks had to draw up blitzes in order to get any kind of pressure. All 4 sacks. Tyler Barron had 2. James Pierce had 2. All 4 sacks came on 3rd down. I think that is a key part. But that seems to be the strength for this Tennessee defense, is that defensive line, their front 7, their linebackers. What is the weakness for Florida when we look at this Utah game? I think they struggled on the offensive line, sacked 5 times. They only had 13 yards rushing. You know, a lot of people have been talking about these Florida running backs, and I tried to make an argument. I tried to give Florida the benefit of the doubt and say, well, they were playing from behind for most of the game, so they had to throw a little bit more. Let's look at average yards per carry from those running backs. Trevor Etienne was just ineffective. 7 carries for 25 yards, averaged 3.6 yards per carry. Montrell Johnson, 3 carries, 6 yards, averaged 2 yards a carry. Trayon Webb only had 1 carry for 3 yards. So Florida struggled to run the football. And I know you're going down there. It's on the road. It's at the Swamp. 7 p.m. kickoff, hostile fan base. Florida is going to be ready to go in week 3. Don't get it twisted. They are going to be ready. They got a cupcake coming up this week, and then they are going to get ready for Tennessee. And that crowd, it is going to be rowdy. They're going to be ready to play. But how do you feel? And I get it. I understand that Utah is a better football team than Virginia. They just are. And that's the same thing as we scroll on down here and we go to take a look at another team, and that's the South Carolina Gamecocks. If Tennessee is going to make it out of September undefeated, they're going to have to beat South Carolina. Now, this is a game that I don't really have as a toss-up. I think this game is a revenge game. This is a game that Josh Heupel has circled on his calendar because of what happened a year ago. Absolutely embarrassing. There's nobody to blame for that loss in Tennessee. That's all you can do. Don't make excuses. It is what it is. South Carolina whipped Tennessee. They ruined their opportunity to get to the postseason. But similar to Florida, I like this matchup for Tennessee. South Carolina loses week 1 to North Carolina 31-17. Again, same story as that Florida game. North Carolina is a better opponent than Virginia. So take that for what it's worth. But still, when we look at this game, South Carolina struggled on the offensive line. Spencer Rattler sacked 9 times, rushing -2 yards on 31 attempts. Very one-dimensional. Very one-dimensional. Now, what happened a year ago? What happened a year ago in that South Carolina game against Tennessee? When the postseason's on the line, Tennessee goes out and lays an egg. Spencer Rattler had himself a field day, threw for 438 yards and 6 touchdowns. So what's the difference? When you look at that game from last year versus looking at this game against North Carolina, really had kind of similar numbers. Against North Carolina, 30 of 39 for 353, obviously minus the touchdowns. Against Tennessee, 30 of 37, 438 yards. So what's the difference? What's the difference between that North Carolina game when Spencer Rattler seemed to have some success throwing the football versus Tennessee? Well, their ability to get home. And again, Spencer Rattler sacked 9 times in this game against North Carolina. They turned the ball over. North Carolina turned the ball over twice and still beat South Carolina 31-17. So their ability to get home made a difference in that game. Sacked Spencer Rattler 9 times. Tennessee, a year ago in the loss to South Carolina, only got home once. So again, as we look at the schedule for 2023, and we got a long way to go. You're playing 12 games, but I'm breaking it down, looking at the first half of this schedule, and I think Tennessee has a very good shot at opening up the year at 6-0. And you know, that includes the Texas A&M game, and that Texas A&M game is one that we're going to continue to keep an eye on them and kind of see what they look like when we get there, right? Things change as the season progresses. It's kind of like LSU. Yeah, they got beat down by Florida State, but that season, their season is not going to be defined by one game. So what does Texas A&M look like on October the 14th? But I like the fact that Josh Heupel could very well be coming out of September at 5-0, and then he's going to be coming off of a bye week to get ready for that Texas A&M game. That's why when some people ask me, why do I consider Kentucky more of a dangerous game than Texas A&M? Well, because we've got the bye week before Texas A&M. We're going to be coming off of a road game against Alabama, then going on the road to play Kentucky, and they're going to be coming off of a bye week. That's the difference. That's why that Kentucky game is kind of question mark for me, but we'll see how it plays out. But again, as we look at week one, as we break down our emotional reactions to week one, the Florida loss to Utah, the South Carolina loss to North Carolina. And again, for me, it's how they lost those games. It's what set those games up that I like about Tennessee's chances. How do you feel about Tennessee and Florida? How do you feel about Tennessee and South Carolina now coming out of week one? Tennessee's favored by 7 points in the Swamp. And if Florida's offensive line comes out and plays like they played against Utah, Tennessee's going to run them out of there. It's going to be like the LSU game. We're going to be sitting in the stands singing Rocky Top, and the Gators are going to be on their way home because that football game is going to be over. But you guys jump into the comments. Let me know your thoughts. Yes, we're jumping right over Austin Peay because it's a glorified scrimmage coming up on Saturday. We'll get more into that on Wednesday as the week progresses. But right now, emotional reactions around the conference. I want to hear from you guys. As always, make sure you smash the thumbs up on the way out the door. It's quick, free, and easy. Helps the channel. Also, we got brand new merch. Check out the Talkin VAWLS VAWLS shirt. Got those letters on there. Also, if you're a member of the cult, if you're a member of the family, we got the brand new big orange cult shirts. All the old favorites are there as well. Bonfire.com/store/Talkin VAWLS. The links are also in the description below. And a quick shout out to the members of the channel. Memberships are on the rise. We're keeping that membership drive going. A lot of you guys like to join the channel during the season because you have an opportunity to be on the show every Sunday night, 7 p.m. Eastern time, fan call-in show. That's where you guys get to come on and run the show. Also, Saturdays, an hour before kickoff, we do a tailgate show for the members of the channel to come on. So if you like the content, you like the videos, you like the live streams, hit that join button down below. It's only $1 a month. You're supporting the channel. You want to give a little bit more, that's greatly appreciated as well. But if not, that's good. Smash the thumbs up because that's quick, free, and easy. Jump into the comment section. Let's talk some Tennessee football because this is the Talkin VAWLS Network. My name is Boogie Bentley. Go Big Orange.